This is Josiah Plays Pillars of Eternity. And I am back. And I'm streaming still. And now I'm going to read a little bit more of our biography. When you arrived in Gilded Vale, you found that the town was not the growing and prosperous settlement you had been told it was. Instead, you found a dying town at the mercy of a phenomenon called Widewind's Legacy and received a cold welcome from the town magistrate. Your prospects of settling in Gilded Vale looked bleaker as it was, but they may have been totally dashed when the tolling bells of Redrick's Hold announced that their master's child had not been born in good health. The magistrate advised you to rest at an inn. You helped an Adira wizard named Aloth out of a scrape with the locals of Gilded Vale. He was understandably grateful to find company for the road. I wonder if my stream is updating on the other page there. When you tried to sleep, it was restless, full of encroaching whispers, and you experienced a vivid nightmare. You saw an old dwarf woman hanging from the tree in the center of Gilded Vale. She said a single word. Watcher. Okay. Let's go talk to the crazy dwarf woman's old dead spirit or whatever.
Well met, friend.
Yeah. We're not going to ask all that right now. I don't think my stream is updating anymore. Now my stream just went gray on the other.
I shall be discreet.
This place looks different in the daylight. Not nearly so sinister. I need to come over here. He doesn't say anything new yet. Okay. Oh, there we go. Caldara de Baranzi. Oh, she must be from Vailia like me. Seems fine here. Okay, thanks, Kevin CZ85. And my stream just crashed again. I was doing this earlier, and then it stopped for a while. I hope it doesn't keep doing it. It's really not something I want to deal with. Okay, let's try this. Caldara de Baranzi. The squat, distended body of an elderly dwarf woman dangles from a thin, crooked bough that sags at the tug of her noose. The bloated purple flesh of her neck, worn away in patches like moth-eaten linen, wow, that's gross, bulges over the rope that suspends her, and her lifeless head lolls forward rigidly from one side to the other when the breeze shifts. So she's pretty dead and pretty hanging. You perceive a faint glow around her that casts no light on its surroundings, but there is a tepid warmth to it, and you feel somehow that you could reach out and touch it, not with your hands, but with some aspect of yourself that has no worldly dimension. So I'm going to reach out to this with my soul, I guess. Oh boy. Crazy soul vision shit is happening. You take a deep breath, clearing your mind, focusing on your objective. As you exhale, you feel yourself spreading out toward the hanging woman, perceiving all that lies between you and her with new, unfamiliar awareness. Once you have expanded enough to reach her, there is a sudden jolt to your mind, a ringing, electric surge of images and words and sounds. Involuntarily, you shut your eyes and feel yourself being pulled down to some deeper consciousness in a space occupied only by you and the hanging woman. And when you open them again, she is staring at you with eyes clouded in a milky fog, her body still swaying in a wind you no longer feel from a tree that stands planted in a misty void. The woman gives a slow nod of her head, the rope creaking as she does so, and she smiles at you.
Have you come here for me, dear? Or have you gotten lost? Ah, it is both, I think. Yes?
Her eyes squint as she peers down at you. Am I imagining this?
No, I think not. A pity that. It would be simpler. A mercy even. To not have to wander anymore, no? Alas, we are here, you and I. Wherever here may be.
She considers for a moment, looking down at her own limp body. Her tongue clicks and she shakes her head. How are you able to speak to me?
Is that what we're doing? Perhaps it just seems that way. Perhaps it is the easiest way for your mind to make sense of it. I think it is a very good choice.
Caldara moves her tongue around in her mouth as if testing it. She gives you a motherly smile. This is a crazy, very strange, dead dwarf. I want to know something about you.
Me? I'll bore you to tears, though.
She shakes her head in protest. Who are you?
And here I thought you'd come to visit me in particular. Caldara de Baranzi, of the Valian Royal Academy of Animantic Sciences. Not the greatest of their number, but I came here all the same because this was where help was needed.
The Valian Royal Academy of Animantic Sciences. Okay. She breathes a mild sigh, sending a small beetle skittering from inside her cheek. That's pretty gross. Her arms turn outward stiffly in what might be a curtsy. Okay, dead woman. What's an animancer?
A student of the soul. Something so basic, yet so poorly understood. But so many breakthroughs have been made in my lifetime. Had been. To hear the locals tell it, we're a gang of soul manglers that preys upon the weak-minded. And the worst of us are.
She chuckles.
But the best of us? The best? Inspirations, miracle workers. My parents were soul twins, miserable before they met, empty inside. It was an animancer who helped one find the other, turned their lives around. You wouldn't believe the stories. Amnesiacs helped to remember their lives. The suicidal brought back from the brink of oblivion. The elderly afforded extra moments to say their goodbyes. How soon we forget when we're afraid.
That does sound pretty good.
It's a fascinating science. A fascinating time to be alive in a place like Deerwood that does not control the research, no? I love the Valian republics for many things, but their recent caution will leave them behind, I fear.
Yeah. What happened to you? She laughs, a rasping, choked cackle escaping between rows of buttery yellow teeth, causing her body to bob up and down with each spasm. Seeing your blank expression, she catches herself.
Oh, come now. Such a question. As though the answer were plain as a rope tied for strangling. Allow an old dwarf her last bit of cheer.
This is an awesome character.
Well, I came where I was needed, didn't I? Offered my services to Lord Radric for a pittance. A humble pittance. I was to examine the Lord's wife, see why the gods have seen fit to poison her womb. Studied her for months, looked high and low for impurities, tested her valence, the permeability of her essence. Do you know what I found?
Tested her valence, huh? Permeability of her essence. Yeah, I mean, I know all about that stuff. Tell me.
Nothing at all. A healthy woman, head to toe, blessed with a beautiful soul. Such a sweet woman, too. Meek, but warm-hearted. A few months' time, and the lord of the house demanded answers. For a time, I told him what he wanted to hear. Oh, yes, my lord. She is riddled with imbalances. I must have time to cure her. As the birth drew near, he grew impatient, as lords do. And this is where I've ended up.
So she lied, and it did not turn out well for her. Shakes her head. I had other questions.
Of course, dear.
I think I survived a Beerwick. Do you know why that would be?
Did you now, dear? My, that would be something, wouldn't it? Could be luck, could certainly be. A storm can be a careless thing.
Kaldara appraises you with scholarly interest for a moment before resuming her cheerful demeanor. So she's intrigued by the fact that I survived it. Because apparently people don't survive those things.
Or maybe it got its hands around your soul but couldn't pick it up. A soul can be heavy if it stayed in one piece through its time. Strong souls, we call them in the trade. Cold, I mean. Called them. Those days are all behind me, no?
She smiles sadly at a thought. Yeah, she doesn't seem too happy about the fact that she's dead. I mean, I guess most people wouldn't be, right? But at least she can still talk to me. You said souls break apart over time?
Oh, yes. Entropy. Rimagan's work. We know little of why or how. We lose pieces of ourselves when we die and pick up pieces of others when we are born again, but less than what we lost. We tried to stop it with the animantic sciences, but with little success. No.
So apparently reincarnation is a thing in this world. Because it says the soul, you die and then you're born again. So your soul goes on to a new life, a new body, but apparently your soul gets weaker over time. Or at least most people's do. Interesting.
A very small few resist Rimergan's influence and stay together through some force of defiance, at least for a time. But they all succumb eventually, I think.
She clicks her tongue. I need to understand something that's happened to me. She nods, a look of pity on her face, as though consoling a child.
The world looks a little different than it used to, is that it? Feels like you're noticing things for the first time that have always been there?
She nods.
You have seen past the shroud. It only takes an instant. Your soul remembers, yes? Remembers how it sees when it leaves the body, like being reminded of a dream you had forgotten. You are a watcher now, and a watcher you will stay.
Okay, so I am a watcher. She nods again. What's a watcher?
What indeed? Long hours have many animancers spent studying such things. Not I, though. Not I. I'll tell you what I know, though, since fair is fair. And here we are, visiting, you and I, and it reminds me of better times. Souls pass on. Some say through Audra stones, which are the blood veins of the world. They leave the world for a time and are reborn into it, sometimes more than they were before, but usually less and seldom the same. For all souls there is a time where they do not live, yet have not passed on, and those souls roam the world, same as you or I, either leaving or lost. But no one sees them because they have forgotten how.
That's interesting.
A watcher sees, though, knows what to look for. And sometimes they know a person just by looking at them, know where they've been in ages past when their bodies were other bodies. See memories even their owner can't recall. A wonder to behold when all goes well. A wonder!
What do you mean, when all goes well?
Oh, nothing to be afraid of, I'm sure. It's just much to take in for some. Sometimes there's trouble sleeping or other difficulties.
She smiles at you reassuringly, fanning out a tuft of long whiskers that sprouts from one of her cheeks. What?
You should see old Merwald. He could tell you much more than I. A watcher just like you. Helped many in his day. Took up in an old keep no one would claim. Not far, not far. Kadnua, beyond the Black Meadow. He will welcome the company.
Old Merwald. An inspired gleam crosses her murky eyes. So another watcher. And he's in Kadnua, which is the keep that becomes your stronghold. Farewell.
Goodbye, my dear. It was lovely visiting.
Kaldara closes her eyes, and her head slumps forward over the noose, and your surroundings seem to bleed into your vision from some unknown place of waiting. Things are back to normal. Aloth looks at you through narrowed eyes. Are you alright? You seemed lost just now. This happens a lot, you'll have to get used to it. I'm a watcher. His arched eyebrows recede into his hood. Actually, he doesn't have a hood anymore, I took his hood. Well, that is interesting. He gives you a sly grin. And I expect this has something to do with the hooded figures in the ruins, In any case, I appreciate your honesty. Since we're traveling together, it's probably wise for us to share these things. Do you know anything about Watchers? Only that they're rare and they seem to have unique insights into certain soul conditions, he coughs, as you just demonstrated. Hey Jen, welcome back. It's going pretty well, other than the fact that I'm still sometimes getting disconnects of my internet, so the stream crashes for a second. But other than that, going well. I got one of my real companions, and of course you should be happy because he is a elf mage, elf wizard, And he is my first legit companion in the game. He seems very interesting too, because he's got some kind of weird multiple personalities thing going on that I don't know what it is, but it's intriguing. Let's continue on. So, got a new quest. After talking to a hanging corpse for 20 minutes. Turns out I'm a watcher. So, let's take a look at what we have going on here. Gilded Vale is apparently done. That was quick. Magistrate Urdiat suggested that I have arrested the N while he looks into the matter of... Oh, I did that already. Right. Okay, that's done. Moment's Respite, yeah. The Ruins. Visions and Whispers. This quest is now done. Okay. Because I found the dwarf woman from the dream. I have a word now for what I have become. A watcher. It seems that if I am to learn more about this affliction, I must seek out a man called Merwald in the old keep of Cadnua. Yeah, I know. I was about to say it, and then I looked over and I saw that you had already commented on it, the hot elf comment. Ooh, and multiple personalities. Clearly a winner. Just my type. Yeah. Yeah, because when I met him, he had these townsfolk that were all mad at him and getting ready to beat him up. And, like, he was simultaneously... Well, not simultaneously, but, like, kind of... He was trying to talk his way out of the fight, like, with his normal peaceful voice. And then he was also, like, switching to this totally different accent and, like, taunting them in a very vituperative manner. And it was like... And then he was, like, surprised when he did that, and he kind of went back and forth. So I don't know if he's, like, possessed by some sort of spirit, or if he's insane, or if he's under some kind of curse. But whatever it is, it looks like it's going to be interesting. The spirit of Caldara de Baranzi, one of Lord Radric's unfortunate victims, has directed me toward Cadnua, where I will find a man named Merwald. Caldara has informed me that I have become something known as a Watcher, and that this Merwald is a Watcher as well. Perhaps he can tell me more about what's happening to me. Travel to Cadnua. Cadnua is southeast of Gilded Vale, past the Black Meadow. I will have to travel there if I am to speak with Merwald. Okay, so that's literally the only quest I have right now. Now, of course, I have skipped getting some side quests, I know, because I've been avoiding doing anything. This is really cool. Did you see this, how I have a biography, and it starts off with just like one paragraph, and then you answer some questions in the beginning of the game where you fill out some more of your backstory, and then more stuff just keeps getting added to your story as you keep going. This is the last paragraph that is new now. You approached the hanged dwarf woman from your dreams and found that through some means you were able to converse with her. You learned that you are a watcher, perhaps as a result of your brush with death at the ruins, and that this has given you some kind of otherworldly vision, though the dwarf was able to tell you few details. She advised you to speak to an old watcher named Merwald, who was master of a keep in the area and might be able to help. Cool. And no new visions yet, but the only thing I was going to look up here that was mentioned... This guy. This is the god that they were saying causes the souls to get weaker over time. Rimmergand. God of entropy, cold, winter, bad luck, famine, and natural disasters. Well, that is not a god of happiness. This is... I'm going to quote from Game of Thrones right now, where Tyrion Lannister says, "Why do all the gods have to be such miserable cunts? Where's the god of tits and wine?" Which seems pretty appropriate reading about this god. Manifests as a giant albino aurochs moving amidst a great blizzard, and in the plodding footsteps of Rimmergand come death and disintegration. Yeah, so what she told me was there is reincarnation in this world. When you die, your soul moves on and gets born again into a new life in a body. But as you go, your soul gets weaker and weaker and starts breaking apart over time because of Rimmergand. Apparently he's the one that like eats people's souls, and eventually their soul goes to nothing and then they're just gone or whatever. So, okay. So, now maybe I can get my buddy here. This is my second companion.
17 and a half.
But so far I haven't been able to get him to actually join me. Maybe now I can, that I had that conversation. There's usually at least one god of tits and wine. Well, there might be a god of tits and wine. I haven't actually read all of the deity things, just the ones that have come up. So I've read about Aothus, I've read about Galawain, and I've read about Rimmergun, but I don't think any of these are very tits and winey. This is the god that I had pre-selected to be the god that my character reveres from her backstory. This is the goddess of oceans, forgotten things, loss, relentlessness, and mourning. Said to have once fallen in love with the moon and to have tried to draw it near with catastrophic consequences. People bring tokens to her temples of things they wish to forget, and her clergy sees the tokens cast into the sea. And she's also one of the primary gods worshipped in Old Vailia, or the Valian Republic's actually where my character is from. Because I am a role-playing nerd, and I think about these things. So, that's Andra. Magrin's god of war and fire, also another mean god. Whales, secrets and illusions, and the god of obfuscation, because that's something we need a god of specifically. I want to obfuscate some things today. Who should I pray to? Well, you should pray to Whale, apparently. Oh my god, I went back to that dialogue I missed last night and it was the best. See, sometimes that's how it is. Like, sometimes you think, is it really worth it for me to go through all this to find this one extra bit of dialogue or explore this one little corner of, you know, nowhere? And sometimes when you do that, you find, like, this awesome lore stuff that, like, you know, you wouldn't have found otherwise. And then you watch other people play the game and they all miss it. And you're like, no, but you're missing this cool thing. It was something that I had always headcanoned. Nice verb there. Headcanoned. That's legit. And he confirmed it. So sad I missed it. Well, it's cool that you got to see it anyway. Sky and blah blah blah. God of assassins and ass kickery. Aothus is kind of the light god. Cycles, doorways, and more Italian. Nope, every one of these gods is super serious. These are all gods of like some heavy shit. There is no lighthearted sort of Dionysus sort of god in this particular pantheon, apparently. No god of tits and wine, sadly. Okay. I've just gone through a lot of stuff, so time for another save game. Let's talk to Adair, because I really want Adair to join my party. Okay, cool. He's saying something new. That's good. The smell of pipe smoke, at once earthy and sweet, winds its way into your nostrils. Your eyes trace the smoke to its origin, where you find a broad man with straw-colored hair leaning against a mossy rock wall, his pipe held to his lips with one meaty hand. He looks you directly in the eye, but the look is not aggressive. He regards you with a peculiar smirk.
17 and a half. Well, could be 18, depending on how you count the dwarf woman.
What are you talking about?
The people hanging from the tree. 18 of them. Well, last I counted, anyway.
Oh, so calling it 17 and a half because of the dwarf woman is just rude, sir. She was a pretty impressive person for a dead body. Aloth frowns. Is that what you people do for fun around here?
Name's Adair. Though to the people around here, might as well be 19. Don't think I'd put you much higher than 22, 23 tops. You look like the sort that likes to get involved.
He extends his hand, looks you up and down and grimaces, so he's suggesting that I will probably be slain and hung from the tree fairly soon. But not as soon as him, I guess. This guy's cool. I like this kind of... He's a fighter, and he's just got this laid-back, like, kind of southern thing going. Got, like, a piece of hay in his mouth. Okay. What was that about the dwarf?
The dwarf woman. You were trying to figure out whether to count her as a full person. I think you oughta.
Thanks, man. What makes you think I was interested in the dwarf woman? He looks at you a moment, his brow arched. His smirk broadens.
I was smoking over here, saw you staring at her. Twice I refilled my pipe. You never so much as blinked. Your mouth was so slack I took you for a Radric at first.
He's not a fan of the local lords. That's good. That makes him my friend. Do you know what a watcher is? Been out of sorts lately. I'm always going with these clever ones when I can. Impossible. I don't drool half as much. Ha! So you're already familiar. Still, you'll have to forgive my curiosity. Round here, we prefer to turn a blind eye to our dead. I can't actually match the voices of the voice actors or their accents perfectly. I just kind of do the best equivalent that I can. Do you know what a watcher is?
Careful, friend. Let's not use that word round here. Could be any number of Radric bootlickers within earshot. Ciphers, animancers, watchers. Same thing in the eyes of folks around here, Radric especially. They come through these parts all the time with their cures, preying on the desperate. None of them are who they claim to be.
Well, I happen to be a cipher and a watcher, so I'm 2 out of 3. So these people must love me. He glances about quickly, then leans in. Okay, so these people are not a fan of everything that I am. Got it?
Of course, seeing you with that funny look, I'd be halfway inclined to believe you were having some kind of communion with that dwarf. Either case, maybe I'm not 19 after all. No offense.
Well, thanks. So now you're suggesting I'm going to be the next person killed. So I can eat a lot of unnecessarily bajiggity responses here. You think you're going... Wait, what? I don't even know what voice I'm doing now. It's difficult trying to voice act every character in a game, you know? Like, with trying to give them some different voices and stuff. No, I gotta get back into my pseudo-Italian accent. You think you're going to be hanged.
The town's had it in for me for a long time now. Only fellow who ever stuck up for me, well, he's number 18 up there. My headman on the farm. Used to be my captain during the war.
Oh, so he fought in the war, and then he was a farmer. Okay, pretty straightforward, classic archetype. The war. Saints' War, only one in my lifetime. Fellow decides he's the living incarnation of Aethys. Overthrows Raid Ceres, marches on Deerwood. So we gave him a Deerwood and hello. What's a Deerwood and hello?
We blew him up.
We blew him up. He smiles at this, but it is the smile of one recounting a joke for effect, rather than enjoyment. Who is Aethys? God of rebirth and redemption, formerly anyhow. Maybe they call him something different where you're from. I had other questions. I got time. Why was your headman hanged? Got involved. Radric sent men down here the other day. Said they had it on good authority someone in town was working with Kolsk, plotting Radric's overthrow. Said if he didn't come forward right then and there, they'd hang every last one of us. No one was coming forward. So Swithin, that's my headman, he steps up and says it's him. They took him at his word. He sighs and shakes his head, his eyes fixed on the tree. Bound to happen sooner or later, if not for plotting against Radric, then for protecting me. What does your town have against you?
Picked the wrong god. That's what it comes down to. Used to be a lot of Aethys worshippers in Gilded Vale. That mess of rocks over there, there was a temple to him, to give you some idea.
Yeah, that's what I was told. This temple has seen better days. He shrugs. So this whole war, this whole religious war is obviously a big deal around here. It's had a lot of fallout.
Then one day, somebody named Widewind shows up on Deerwood's doorstep. Says he's the living flesh of Aethys. Got an army with him. Suddenly, Aethys isn't so popular in these parts. My brother Woden and me, neither of us believed it. No way was that Aethys. He enlisted, then I did too. But, he didn't make it back.
I'm sorry, man.
After the war, people took to punishing Aethys worshippers, accusing them of treason. Got real ugly, especially after the legacy started. Folks needed someone to blame. I was safe because I fought, but then this rumor starts that my brother, that he was on the wrong side. And I wasn't so safe anymore. Until my headman stepped in and said they'd have to hang him to get to me.
Yeah, that's no good.
Seems that's no longer a concern. Of course, the townies don't do the hanging these days, but when Raedric's men come, they got no problem doing the pointing.
He looks up at the tree, his eyes trailing one of the swaying bodies. Yeah, this town is not good. This town's gonna need some serious cleaning up, and by cleaning up I mean butchering a bunch of people, probably. Aloth glances at you and lowers his voice. You can see why I was eager to leave. If you're next to be hanged, why are you still doing here? He gives a half smile. Drinking, mostly. Point of fact, I'm on my way out. Just haven't figured where I'm going yet. Not a whole lot of places out there that don't think Waidwin's legacy started with Waidwin. Who's Kusk? Someone who got tired of all the hangings. He's on the run now. Probably will be till they catch him. Seems like you shouldn't kill whole towns. Well, I don't think I have to kill the whole town. Just like the evil lord and his lackeys, probably. The people that are you know, going nuts and executing tons of people for no reason. We could travel together. Please, could we? Where are you headed? Some place called Cadnua. There's an old watcher there who might be able to help me.
Seem to remember hearing something about that years ago. He tamed that place. People would seek him out for all kinds of things. Troubles of the soul, questions for the departed. Of course, that was back when you didn't have to say watcher with a hush on your breath.
Leave the poor fanatics alone. But they're very mean people.
A man such as that, there'd be things I'd want to ask him. Don't know why I never thought of it before.
Something kindles in Adair's eyes, and the vigor of purpose finds its way into his voice. Yes! Join me! Join me! And together we will rule the Gallic... Wait, no, just join me, though.
Not sure how I feel about setting out with a stranger. And a strange one at that. But, truth be told, you might be the only one in town who wouldn't feel some relief seeing me swing from that tree.
He scratches his beard absently with a calloused thumb. I don't know if they know, but that's not how you spell calloused. Well, of course I wouldn't want to see you swinging from that tree. I want to see you taking shitloads of damage over the course of the next 100 hours of gameplay so that I don't have to take that damage, Mr. Fighter, sir. There's a fine reason if I ever heard one.
Alright then. Guess I'll do some sightseeing. Long as you're not the one picking the sights.
He shrugs. He glances briefly at the tree. He tilts his head forward and gives you a pointed look. Yeah, I'm not picking the best sites so far. Let's get going. Boom! Yeah, I got me an Adair. This is so much better than when I was alone. Okay.
Hey. Hey.
How may I help?
Huh?
I? I?
Hey.
Yes?
Huh? Hey. 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 Huh? Huh? Hey. 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 Huh? Hey. 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 Huh? Huh? Hey. Hey.
I need to see if they say something bajiggity after you click on them too many times.
Hey.
Doesn't look like they do. You dropped the
How may I
ball
help?
there, Obsidian.
How may I help?
They're
Yes.
supposed to say
How may I
something
help?
snotty if you
Yes.
click on them a bunch of
Yes.
times.
Yes.
Eh?
Yeah.
Eh?
How may I help?
Eh?
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so, oh, I have a new ability. I didn't have this ability before. So I've unlocked this because I'm a watcher now. What is this ability? Crucible of the Soul. I was into play the Crucible when I was younger. I played Judge Danforth. There you go. Arthur Miller. The Watcher unravels the vital essence of his or her enemies, gaining endurance in the process. That sounds pretty cool. I mean, that's serious. Look, I shoot a guy with a crossbow bolt. You know, that's like, ow, you shot me with a crossbow bolt. But unravels the vital essence of a person. I mean, that's intense. That's like having to listen to Friday by Rebecca Black. I mean, that's like, yeah. Is that even her name? Something Black. I don't know if it's Rebecca or not now that I think about it. But you know the song, Friday. Yeah, you have to listen to that. It kind of unravels your vital essence a little bit. So it's a fast cast. Once per rest. Ooh. That means basically you get to never use this. Okay. Has a nice little radius. Drains 10 burn damage from the enemies, and I guess I get that 10 as endurance back to myself. Well, that's kind of cool. I mean, it's an extra little ability I didn't have before. So, I really don't know what her name is. Yeah, yeah, I know, right? You know, God, unravels the vital essence of some people. Get your essence unraveled, son.
How may I
Alright,
help?
so we've already looked at everything Aloth can do, and we're very pleased.
Hi.
Oh, hey, okay, he's been carrying this beer around. Now they can be very good friends. Here you go, Adair. The elf guy just gave you several beers. Also, you can have this potion of Spirit Shield. Also, you can have this and one of these. Because you're the tank, so you get all the good tanking stuff. No, that's not the correct person's inventory. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at Adair, now that he's joined us. He looks pretty cool. I like his armor. Oh, see, that's not standard armor. That's like some special armor that's just his. Saints War armor. Scale armor is made of overlapping small plates of metal or horn sewn to a leather backing. It offers a balance of protection and speed. But see, this isn't just standard scale armor because it's pierce-proofed, so it has 3 extra damage reduction against pierce, which is awesome. And it has second chance. What the hell is second chance? We don't even know what that means. I mean, it sounds like it means something like when he gets, like, dropped, he gets to, like, get back up or something once or whatever. I mean, that's what it sounds like, but I have no idea what it actually does. I've never seen that on anything, so I guess we'll find out. So he has some pretty good armor. Now, I was going to give him this mail armor, but, I mean, I don't think it's as good as what he's wearing, all things considered. Like, it has more base DR, and much better versus Slash, right? But it's worse versus Crush. It's the same, yeah. And it slows him down, but it doesn't have this cool pierce-proofed and second chance stuff on it. And it doesn't look as cool. So I think he's going to wear this, even though theoretically he'd get a little more with that mail, but I might just have him carry the mail around in case he wants to switch to it. He's using a saber. That's an interesting choice. Sabers are curved, single-edged swords capable of inflicting severe wounds. Though they are less effective against armor than standard swords, they're deadly against unarmored enemies. Yeah, because it does slashing damage, and that's the most common thing for enemies to have a high resist to. So, in fact, he will not be using a saber. What he's actually going to be using is a hatchet, because the hatchet gives him +5 deflection, and he needs that. Warbow. Ooh, warbow. Though warbows are outnumbered by hunting bows in the Deerwood, warbows are more popular among professional soldiers and adventurers. With a high draw weight and respectable speed, they possess a power unmatched by magical implements and don't have the lengthy reloading times of crossbows and firearms. Should I use that bow? Well, it still doesn't do as much damage as the crossbow, or have as strong of an interrupt, but it will probably fire much faster than this lengthy reload time. Like, I could make it my secondary weapon, shoot the crossbow once and then switch to the warbow, which would probably be kind of a good idea, but now that I have 2 crossbows, I kind of want to just do my... Actually, I wish I had a 3rd weapon set. That would be good, because then I could have the warbow as a 3rd weapon. I don't think Aloth is going to use a bow, even though he's an elf. I guess he can keep that as a secondary weapon in case he needs to do ranged for some reason. Did I have anything else in that? What about his shield? Is it a decent shield? Okay, it's the same as the shields I've got. And his armor is good. Oh yeah, I'm gonna pull this cloak back out because he is the tank, so he's gonna get this protection cloak. Oh wait, he's already wearing a cloak? Oh, he's just wearing a cape. Alright, we've read about capes before. We're up on the cape lore. So there we go. Now he's got... Did that actually raise his... It did, cool. Also, I think I'm going to give him the ring of self-healing, because he is the guy that hopefully will be taking all the damage, or most of it. Anything else I want to give him? Which one of these cloaks do I want? That one's cool, but it doesn't match my whole... I'll wear the obsidian one. That one's cooler looking than this raggedy ass cloak he had before, so... This was Aloth's hood. When I found him, he was wearing a hood, and I'd been wanting a hood because, hello, my portrait has a hood. So I immediately stole his hood and put it on myself. He doesn't have a hood in his picture, does he? No. Thank you, game. Learn who should have a hood and who shouldn't. Sometimes you gotta set the game straight on these things. Okay. Cool. He should have... Oh wait, can I craft anything worth a darn? I don't want potions of wizards double, come on. I don't want prayer against fear either. I want to be able to craft some good stuff. Food? No. Actually, what can I make out of beer and like... They also had grain and milk, right, at the end? So, nothing. Got it. Alright, now, so we've consulted Adair's equipment. He seems to be pretty much squared away. 47 deflection is pretty good. Next, we're going to check out his stats and stuff. So he's a farmer. He's got good, decent might and con. His dex is not as low as mine. Perception doesn't really matter. So, well, yeah, he's all right, I guess, stats-wise. He'll do. Not great, but he has 5 in athletics, though. That's good. We'll need somebody with athletics sometimes for like scripted encounters, and he has a little bit of survival also. Tiny bit of lore, not enough to use any decent scrolls. Now, what's he have here? Of course, he has his all the time getting endurance back in combat thing that fighters have. That's really good. He's got the same dumbass. Well, this isn't so bad for a fighter because he's going to get endurance below 50 pretty regularly. It's not good for me because ideally I'm not getting hit at all. All complaints. No, I love it there. I went through a lot of stuff to get this guy. When I first went up and talked to him, he was just like, sup. Like, he talked to me a little bit, but he wasn't trying to come with me. I had to go to the inn. I had to have a crazy dream. I then had to come back and talk to the ghost of a dead hanging dwarf lady for a long time. So, you know, I had to put in some work to get him. Okay, he's got the ring. He's got twice per... Ooh, 5.8 seconds prone. That's not bad. Oh, cool. He's got rapid recovery. That's a good talent. That is a good talent for him to have. So at least the game didn't pick a stupid talent from at first level. Alright, cool. So now I have my party. So he comes to the front of the line here.
You're not expecting much.
What do you mean, hope I'm not expecting much?
Alright then.
That doesn't instill a lot of confidence. And then Aloth.
Eh?
And then me. I'm going to be in the back because...
Yeah.
Hey.
And I need to figure out what my formation is going to be. So formation 1 needs to be him up here in like tank position. And us kind of way back here, being scurred. Formation 2, though, is when I'm scouting, because I'm the stealth one. So I'll be up here in the front stealthing. And these extremely unstealthy people will be back here. Yeah, that looks good. So right now...
All right then.
I'll see what I can find.
So now that I have these two, again, like I explained before, I'm not actually doing any of the content on these maps. I'm just getting companions and moving on. So I'm going to go after my next companion. I don't know which way I have to go, though, so I'm going to go unlock these 3 exits from the map, which should presumably unlock, like, at least 2 or 3 areas on the world map I can go to. I know where to go to get the other companions, I just don't know how you get them exactly. And I don't know exactly how to get to the places where I have to go. Magrin's Fork, okay, Durance is on that map somewhere. He's my priest. So I'm gonna go get him, but first I am gonna unlock these other areas real quick. Probably don't need to sneak right now, but since it's on ultra difficult level, I don't want to take any chances. Because if I just stumble into some crazy shit, things could go bad quickly. Let's check out the road south. I don't think this is going to unlock any new area, probably, but... No, it doesn't. But I'll bet the road east does. Hi, people. I will talk to you someday, but that day is not today. Yeah, see, that unlocks the Estern Wood. But I don't think I need to go through the Estern Wood. Because that's going to take me... Well, I mean, I'm going to need to go through there probably to get to Cadnua, which is... Oh, which is right there, apparently. It's been added to my map. Okay. That's where Kana is. So let's go to Magrin's Fork. It'll take me 4 hours. Okay. And let's be super sneaky. Because I do not want to have to fight anything on this map right now.
Time to see and not be seen.
So I don't know where this guy is. I'm gonna just kind of follow the road all the way across at first, and we'll see what happens. Whoa! Oh, that's me having a vision of a spirit again. What is that? Oh, that's him! Hey, he was easy to find. Alright. Cool. What's this say? Saw you in the flames.
Saw you in the flames.
South to Anslock Compass. East to Black Meadow. Okay, he saw me in the flames, folks. Quick save, and let's, what's this statue? Statue of Magran, goddess of war and flame. Dozens of names have been scratched into the stone at her feet. A supplicant seeking her blessing. Okay. And here he is, one of her priests. How about we, you just come with me without a lot of BS first? That sounds good to me, sir. Squatting at the base of this statue is an incredibly ugly man with bulging red cheeks raked by pox scars and a scraggly beard. He is sweating as if he has a fever, but his breathing is measured and steady, like a slow push of a blacksmith's bellows. But that comparison feels strange and unwelcome. Look at him. Look at his crazy eyes. I love it. I love crazy people. So... yes, crazy person. Please join us. I don't need to know anything about you, just join us. The next comparison, possibly sparked by his grin, is that of a bear trap. And then, out of nowhere, there is the hint of alchemical fire that fades almost as soon as you... come on. Check your shit, Obsidian. Fades almost as soon as you identify the smell.
Come to pray at the statue.
Okay, whoa, flaming statue. Things are getting serious. The question mark is barely there. As the man makes the statement, the statue takes on a reddish cast, as if one is holding a torch to it, then slowly blossoms into waving flames. The man doesn't turn as the statue blossoms into fire.
The others are welcome, but it's best if just you and I trade words, and your shadows stay quiet. Hands off their weapons, both arcane and steel. It's only you I want to trade words with anyway.
His face tenses with his iron bear trap smile, ready to spring. You know you have to camp with that guy, Jen. Yeah, I know I have to camp with him. He's awesome. Why wouldn't I want to camp with him? Like, he's a crazy priest of the goddess of war and fire, and he's got a rifle. Like, what... Oh, I don't know if he has a rifle or not, but I know that god... favored weapon is the rifle or something. So, well, not rifle. Rifles haven't been invented yet. This is Renaissance technology. So, long bore, like smooth bore, long arm firearms, matchlock firearms, really. But basically, like the equivalent of a rifle, even though technically not a rifle because they don't have rifled barrels. But whatever. That's a lot of stuff that didn't really need to be gone into. Okay, what happens next?
I swear before the whore that is Margaret, no harm will come to you in her shadow. If that's enough of a promise for you. If not...
A staff rests easily in his hand. It wasn't there a moment ago. See this? there are so many cool dialogue options you get in this game based on what your character is and your choices. There's 2 different ones if you're a worshiper of Magran, which only the case if you're a priest. So if I was a priest of Magran also, there's 2 different things I could say to him that I can't say, which is pretty cool. Stone seems cold. Comfort. Examine the statue. Study the man. Focus your gaze on the staff. I didn't catch your name. Well, let's examine the statue first. The weaving firelight from the statue gives off no heat. So much so if you wonder if it is some... Really? Again? Who the hell wrote this section? And why didn't they proofread? So much so if you wonder if it is some trick of the mind. Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of conversations in this game already where there were so many different ways I could take the conversation based on, like, my attributes, and people have reacted to my choice of, like, background and stuff. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. The ugly man before you doesn't seem to notice it or feel it, although the sheen on his brow is still present as if he's burning up from within. I'm going to study the man. The sudden weaving flames from the statue of Magran cast more light on his features. The man's robes are dirty, stained with grease and other marks of the road. The hems of his robes, including the sleeves, are burned at the edges, as if he walked a great distance across a fire, then reached into the flames with his hands to pull something out. Like, I would totally pick this dude up hitchhiking. Not a question. Get in the car, sir. We're cool. But while his hands were thick and calloused, spelled wrong again, they bear no burn or scorch marks. I gotta make sure. I mean, I know that that's not how I spell calloused, but is that an alternate acceptable spelling, perhaps? Because some words have more than one. Huh. That's interesting. Apparently both spellings are acceptable alternatives. 10 out of 10 wood romance. Totally. Yes. Okay. Well, let's take a look at this staff. The staff looks thick, stout, of blackened ash once burned by a terrible fire. Beneath the ash, the lines in the wood bear shapes and patterns, and there is a certainty the staff was once something far more dangerous, but not now. Really? Now that's interesting. So I'm getting the impression that this actually did used to be a gun, and now it's been turned into a staff somehow. As you study it deeper, it shimmers slightly in your eyes, like water catching the light weaving across the statue. Whatever power was bled from the staff, it doesn't make it, or the wielder, any less dangerous. You look up to see the man watching you studying the staff. As his gaze meets yours, he nods with a humorless smile. I didn't catch your name, or why you want to speak with me.
I didn't give it. You probably find names as useless as I do. The names that litter this world like debris are hard enough to wrap around the tongue. And what do they matter?
I didn't give it, he says. Well played, I guess. The man grunts. His hand tightens around the staff. Yeah. I guess.
It's what's beneath the skin and the letters I care about. What burns within. It's more important to me you're a watcher than whatever culture or accent decorates your letters like awkward crowns. Take pride in your actions, not where you hail from. Or how your name rolls off whatever liar's tongue coats it now.
This guy has a very optimistic view of life and people, I think. The man's staff blossoms with fire for a moment, then the embers settle.
If you need a title to hang on me to match your own, Watcher, then call me Durance. And as you observe souls, I test them.
He tests souls. He's pretty serious. He tests souls. Does my soul pass? What do you mean? Durance shakes his head, and his hand curls tightly on his staff. I can see the questions bubbling up. Let's burn them away, one by one.
I am a missionary. I walk this diseased nation with its heathen, its people so careless with the spirits of others and their own, watchers among them. Yes, I know you for what you are, and your name doesn't interest me. Names are for honest folk, and you are a crack that shines light from another place.
Oh, really? I'm honest folk. I'm totally honest folk. Kind of. I was talking to a dead body a little while ago, so I guess you could really call that what you wish.
We're meant to travel together, you and I. Saw you in the flames. Not your face, but that soul of yours. All tightened up, like a huntsman's knot.
He grunts again, his eyes narrowing. Well, thanks. I appreciate you saying I have a tight soul. I've been working it out. Doing soul squats. You saw my soul in the flames?
There's things we can teach each other. If you're in need of answers to your mantle of questions.
I do have a mantle of questions. You got me there.
I don't force my words on anyone other than you. I don't care who walks with you or what their muling problems and politics are. There's enough howling in the world without me stoking that fire. I won't take from your provisions, don't need much on the road. I can carry my weight, which is considerable.
He inhales, again giving you the impression of a blacksmith bellows, and he smiles almost proudly. I don't care who walks with you or what their muling problems and politics are. That makes me happy. This guy's my favorite.
Many will stand against you. They probably already have, from what I can see. Left their marks, it seems. Like a trail, worming its way behind you.
He stares at you for a moment, his brow creasing. Well, yeah, my character's pretty hot, so, you know. I just figure these guys should want to travel with me just because, like, you know. What kind of marks?
Disease? Spirit wind? Both could have touched you, yet here you stand.
He stares at your face, then into your eyes, almost dully at first, then more intently. He shrugs. So this guy knows a hell of a lot about me and what I've been through that he can see just by looking at me, I guess. He's got that priest wisdom.
As for disease, not all of us were close to water when the pox hit. But it's no longer a passenger in my flesh. It left its marks as well. But like flames, the pox doesn't strike twice, nor is it catching.
Flames are pretty catching, actually. I don't know if you've seen flames before, but they pretty much catch like a motherfucker. He taps the pox scars on his face. Yeah. Company would be welcome on the road.
Then let us walk together, Watcher.
Durance's face cracks into a smile. Boom! Got another one. I am catching them all, currently. I am catching them all. Okay. And I got a quest, too. Talk to me about my biography. Oh, cool. See, so these guys are adding to my biography. In Gilded Vale, you met Adair, a local farmer and follower of Aethys. His family's faith and his brother's role in the Saints' War had earned him the suspicion of the local authorities, so you decided to make your way out of town together. On the road through Magrin's Fork, you met a wild-eyed priest who called himself Durance. He actually didn't tell me his name, but I'm just guessing his name is Durance because it says that, like, over his head or whatever. He recognized you instantly as a Watcher and seemed convinced that you were meant to journey together and instruct one another. Instruct one another. Is that what they're calling it these days, Durance? Instruct one another? Yeah, I like instructing one another with certain individuals as well. Oh, this is Adair's quest. I didn't even realize I had this. Adair has agreed to travel with me. He seemed to have some questions he thought a watcher might be able to answer. Bring Adair to speak with Merwald. After telling Adair that I was headed for Cadnua to see its lord, an old watcher named Merwald, he expressed that there were things he'd like to ask Merwald as well. Well, that's a pretty easy quest. Like, I'm going there anyway, so let him come with me to the place I'm already going? Yeah, I can handle that one. The Trials of Durance. I met a strange priest in Magrin's Fork who claimed you have something to gain from questioning one another. Spend time traveling with Durance. That's another easy one to accomplish. Durance says he and I are meant to travel together and that we can teach one another. He is a man of many words who seems to raise more questions than he answers, but if I travel the road long enough with him, perhaps I may discover something worth learning. Oh, did he? Did he actually say, maybe I just forgot about it after he, like, went on and on about how names were stupid. He said he didn't give it. Names are useless. Oh, he did, right here. If you need a title to hang on me to match your own, then call me Durance. Got it. Good call, Kevin. Good call. And then, what was my other... Oh, this is just the quest, my main quest, which is to travel to Cadnua. Okay. Well, now that I have Durance in the team, let's check him out. He's got Holy Radiance once per encounter. Creates a field of holy energy around the priest, burning any vessels in the vicinity. And regenerating a modest amount of endurance for allies. So vessels, I believe, are... I mean, they're a body with possessed by some sort of spirit or something. Apparently, vessels are basically the word for undead in this game. Regenerating a modest amount of endurance for allies. The power of a priest's holy radiance is modified by how well his or her reputations align with the preferred behaviors of his or her faith. Fast cast once an encounter, which is great. Pretty nice sized radiance. A little bit of a heal for all of us, and if they're undead, they're going to get burned and frightened. So it's basically like a heal and a turn undead in one. And I think he can get a talent that modifies it so that it burns any enemies. Pretty sure. Yeah, that's a big radius. That's nice. And he's got his regular priest spells, which he can cast 3 per day per rest, which is the bummer thing about priests and wizards. So what do they do? Armor of Faith creates a tangible shield of faith, increasing the damage reduction of allies in the area of effect. It's a decent little radius. Plus 4 damage reduction for 34.5 seconds, though. That's a solid spell. That's a lot of extra damage reduction. And for a pretty long time. Barbs of Condemnation. Punishes a target for their sins, decreasing their deflection, fortitude, reflex, and will. So it does a nice chunk of damage to one target and -5 to all defenses for a little while. That's okay. Blessing. A call for divine favor that increases the accuracy and damage of allies in the area of effect. Average speed cast, big radius, +5 accuracy and +10% damage for 23 seconds. That's pretty nice. That's not bad for like an important fight where we really need it. Divine Terror. That is a... Wait a minute. I'm screwing myself up here. That is a average speed, small radius, foe AoE, frighten for 17.3 seconds. Strikes fear into the hearts of the unworthy, inflicting a penalty to accuracy on it. Yeah, that's kind of not that great. Halt. Halt. I just remember, like... I used to play this game called Daggerfall a long time ago, and it was the second game in the Elder Scrolls series, so it was really a long time ago. but you know, you would piss off the guards in the city, and like just shit tons of guards would spawn and come after you, and all of them would be yelling halt. But since there were so many guards, it would just like all be overlapping on each other, and I always remember how it sounded because it was just hilarious. Because it was just like halt, 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 and like they would just keep doing that constantly. It was amazing. So fast cast, that's really good. Stuck for 11.5 seconds. So basically it pins an enemy in place. And stuck actually also reduces their dexterity, reduces their accuracy, and reduces their reflex and deflection by 20. And it allows for sneak attacks too if I had a rogue. So that is nice. Commands a single enemy to halt, causing them to temporarily cease. I mean, if I got a person coming after my wizard or my main character, then he can just throw a halt on him with a fast cast, so it has no casting time basically, and they'll be stuck there for a while. So that's a good spell. Holy Meditation, also fast cast. Wait a minute, haven't a bunch of his spells been fast? That's kind of unusual. That's not. Okay, maybe they haven't been. Oh, just his Holy Radiance was fast. Okay, and then halt. Alright. Holy Meditation is also fast. Priest clears his or her mind, spreading the clarity to nearby allies, thereby increasing their concentration and will. Decent sized radius, bunch of concentration, a good chunk of will for a long time. I'll pretty much never use that unless I'm facing some kind of enemies that are using serious will attacks that I really need to protect against. Prayer Against Fear, this is obviously very situational. It's also fast cast, and it's a huge defense against frightened and terrified. Steals the mind of allies in the area effect against all external fears, granting bonus resistance against attacked with frightened or terrified afflictions, and reducing the duration of any such afflictions currently on the target. Again, that'll be very situational. Something would have to be throwing some serious fear around for me to want to use that. Okay, here's his one heal, his legit heal that he has at first level. Fast cast, which is rad. Short range, though. It is a small radius, and everybody in the AoE gets 13.4 endurance back. Shows a generous portion of... Yeah, we read about this before, because my other character has a scroll of that. You know, and that has... You know, that's a nice little radius. If all my characters are pretty much grouped together, it's going to heal everybody. And then last is Withdraw. Also fast cast. He has a lot of fast spells. That's pretty cool. The wizard only has like one fast spell, I think. And I only have one fast spell. Oh yeah, this is a good spell. This is a total save your life spell. Isolates a single target within a protective sphere, shielding them from harm while their endurance regenerates. So as a fast sort of instantaneous thing, he can put this bubble around somebody that makes them essentially untargetable, unattackable for a long time. And also, it also heals them over time while they're in there. So if my character or the wizard or something, say, are getting their ass kicked and they're getting attacked and they're about to die, he can throw that Withdraw on them. They'll be totally safe. The enemies will all switch to different targets, and they will heal basically all the way up, because that's more endurance than... That's more endurance than even the fighter has right now. So that's huge. That is a really good spell. I'll use that when the times call for it. Okay, so that's his spells. We've gone through his spells. Let's look at his stuff. I thought his robe was red. Come here.
Fine.
Oh, I guess it was just red in like that lighting. Huh, okay. So his robe is not red. It's just a robe. Offering minimal protection, cloth armor consists of layers of wool or linen cloth. Though it does not provide much protection, it is the least restrictive type of body armor. So it gives him... I don't think I want him in a robe. I think I want him more heavily armored. Okay, he has a rod. That's the same thing Aloth... No, Aloth is using a scepter. He has a rod, so he could do ranged with a rod. Although... Rods are the largest of the magical implements and can be distinguished from wands and scepters by the heads on each end. Rods focus and release more soul energy than wands or scepters. This attribute makes their blows more powerful, but they recharge and fire more slowly. So that does 12 to 18. Okay, 11 to 16 base. What does the scepter do? 9 to 14. I kind of want Aloth to use the rod instead of the scepter. And by kind of want, I mean that's what's going to happen. I'd rather him do bigger damage because he has that blast talent where his attacks with implements do an AoE, and nobody but a wizard gets that. So I'd rather have his blast attacks be stronger and a little bit slower. I don't think Durance needs to use a scepter, an implement at all. He can just use like a real ranged weapon. But do I want him in range or do I want him in melee? Because if I put some decent armor on him, well, he doesn't exactly have a ton of health, not like Adair. Maybe I don't want him in melee. Maybe I should just... But he has this cool staff, though. Deceptively simple. Quarterstaffs can be powerful weapons in the hands of a skilled combatant. Wielders can use a quarterstaff's long reach to deliver crushing blows from behind. Oh yeah, it's a reach weapon. And it has a lot of extra burn damage on it. So yeah, he'll use that. He can stand like behind the fighter and like not get engaged, hopefully, or not get engaged by many things. But I'm also going to give him... What else? What other ranged weapons do I have here? I got hunting bows. Or I could give him that war bow. Let's pull this hunting bow out. Which is better? Scepter presumably attacks faster, but hunting bows actually attack really fast. Faster than that average would indicate. I think the hunting bow will actually be better than the scepter. I think the scepter can just chill the fuck out in the... Oh wait, maybe I'll keep it on Aloth in case he wants to switch to it or something. But instead of a hunting bow, really, he should use the war bow. And we'll put the hunting bow on him in case he needs it. These are very complicated decisions you have to make here. Okay. So we've sorted out his inventory. Oh yeah, other than armor. Do I want to keep him in this robe or do I want to put some real armor on him? Or do I want him to not have any armor at all? Like my character. I guess I could keep him in the robe. Anything I put on him heavier will just slow him down, but then again though, if he's going to be up in... I could give him Aloth's armor. Hey Aloth, you know how you have your own leather armor with your name on it? Yeah, Durance needs that. No. I got rid of all my heavier armor. Maybe I should just put him in this leather here. Oh, I could put him in this mail. That would really slow him down. But then he would be really tough if they attack him. Let's see. It slows him down quite a bit, but probably worth it. if he's going to be up in there trying to hit things with a staff. I wonder if I should wear this robe. Wow, it's kind of crappy looking, isn't it? I think that answers that question. Do I want extra area of effect on him or the... Oh yeah, we'll let him keep his armor. We'll let him keep his armor. But Durance, I think I need you to wear this mail instead of your... Well, wait. I gotta look at his stats first. Clergyman, Deerwood, Meadowfolk. Man, I got all kinds of Meadowfolk, and I'm Ocean Folk. There's all sorts of folk. We got some folks in here. His text is already on the low side. Bear's Fortitude. Where's he getting that from? Seriously, where is he getting that from? Oh, I guess maybe it's just a thing he has. He has a decent con, though. Yeah, he's alright. He's got some lore. Wow, he has 3 in mechanics coming into the group. That's surprising. That's as much mechanics as I have. So you could set Durance up to be like your lockpicker guy if you wanted to. It's interesting. What level is he? 2, just like the rest of us. Okay. Yeah, that's actually surprising. Oh, this is his talent. Oh, that's a shitty talent. I mean, compared to... There's so many really valuable talents they could have given him for his class. And they gave him this? I mean, I guess it fits his character or whatever. But see, Aloth has, like, one of the best talents he should take in the beginning as a wizard, which is Blast. And Adair has, like, the best talent for his first talent, which is the thing that gives him more regen in combat. But Bear's Fortitude? Come on, son. Quit trying to pretend to be a bear. Alright. We're going to put this leather armor away. We're going to keep his robe in his inventory in case. Aloth has both types of implement now, so he can, like, try them both out and see which one he likes better. He's got his staff, which he'll try using the staff, like, but if that's too dangerous or the situation's too perilous, he'll use the bow. Maybe I should start him off with the bow and switch to the staff if it seems safe to do so. Alright, good. We're cool. Now, the next thing I want to do, I realize I didn't talk to Adair after I got him. Or Durance. Now, I've talked to Aloth, and I don't think there's any more conversation I can have with him right now. Yeah, see, I've gone through all the options with him for the moment. But I could have a little chat with our buddy Adair here. I hope that old Watcher's still there. Been years since I heard anything about him. What is it you want to ask this Watcher in Cadnua? Just some things about the past, about the war. I've been thinking I missed my chance to find out what I wanted to know. That old Watcher, though, he opens up some new possibilities. I was wondering about Eothas.
It makes 2 of us.
This is a lot of questions. What is there to know about Eothas?
If you're looking to find religion, maybe you want to start with a god that hasn't been burned to dust, but I won't stop you.
Yeah, they blew this god up with a bomb, basically.
Eothas, he was a young man with a silver crown. Carried a candle around with him. Sounds like I'm giving a bad eulogy here.
He utters an amused grunt. He was a lot of different things to different people, I guess. Rebirth, redemption, light. Out in the country, he's Gown, the farmer, who helps all things pass, seasons and people both. He watches over the weak, does Gown. Sees imbalances made right. You could see why all the copperless rowdies around here might take a liking to someone like that. He was real popular here for a time. These days, you won't find too many worshipping Aethys in the open. It's hard to know who still does it in private and who's given up. Feels like I'm the last one sometimes. He smirks. If that's the case, he deserves all the mourning. Do you still worship Aethys?
In my way. I don't suppose he expects me to show up at his temple these days. Not much left to do for him other than keep his memory alive and keep hoping that he's just been playing a joke on all of us these past 15 years.
Quit playing dead, God. Quit playing dead. I hate it when my deity plays possum. You know, like it's just... Yeah, okay. As far as I know, he hasn't said anything to anybody since the God Hammer detonated. Why worship him then? He grimaces. Well, if it turns out he's not dead, and if I gave up on him, I'd have betrayed my God twice. Even the God of Redemption's gotta have standards. I'd probably be reborn as a fat Almawa's horse. A fat Almawa's horse. That's good. Because Almawas are like the really big race in the game. So, yeah. That's not really it, though. Not all of it, anyway. He casts a sidelong glance. Guess it's more I still believe in the things he believed in. I just hope his death doesn't mean the death of those things as well. Sometimes it looks that way. Why did you choose to worship Aethys in the beginning?
Raised that way. My family's been Aethasian going way back. Suppose it wasn't much of a choice at first. Don't know for sure why my family started worshipping him. Probably because of Gon looking after folks like us.
Gon, okay. Yeah, I guess so. He looks you in the eye, conspiratorial. Could just as well be that my ancestor did something so bad only Aethys could forgive. It'd explain a lot about where I got some of my less respectable traits. Did you only worship him because that's how you were raised?
There was something I genuinely liked about Aethys. Always. Like he understood people better than the other gods. Knew all our flaws and weaknesses and accepted us for that. Folks are at their worst when they're afraid. A god like Aethys, he made you realize there was nothing to fear. Made you a better person.
Yeah, Aethys sounds pretty awesome. He's probably the only god out of the whole pantheon who's not an asshole. Until somebody like became his living embodiment and tried to take over the world. I guess that pretty much kind of puts a damper on the whole not an asshole thing.
Of course, he goes away for a few years, and look what happens.
What made you think Icewind didn't speak for Aethys?
Was his actions. Not when he started his rebellion, not even when he took over Raid Saris. It was when he sent his armies into Deerwood.
So he didn't believe that Icewind was actually the... I mean, that explains why he went into the army to fight against Icewynd's army, right? Up to that point, he was sticking up for his people. That's what Aethys does, at least the Gon part of him. Those farmers were starving, and their government didn't lift a finger. I figured if it wasn't Aethys himself, at least he had the right idea. But then he sent armies across the border. He even crossed it himself in the end. Word was he was chasing refugees that escaped the rebellion, wanted to punish them and punish us for allowing them to live here. That just didn't fit for me. Those are the deeds of a vengeful god. Skaen, or Wodica, maybe. Or just a man who'd lost his sense. I still have trouble believing it, but there's no one left to ask if it's true. Tell me about the purges.
You sure you don't want to talk about something more pleasant? Like the War of Black Trees or the Legacy or something?
Adair looks at you as though he's looking directly into the sun. That's an awesome way of describing that. Like you could just say he squints at you, right? That's what he's doing. He's squinting at you. But they didn't just say he squints at you. They said he looks at you as though he's looking directly into the sun. That's like so evocative, right? Because you have to stop and imagine it. Like, what does that look like? And then you think, well, if I was looking directly in the sun, I'd be squinting like really hard. So he's squinting really hard at me, but like you just said it in a cool fucking way. I like the writers for this game. It's eye-opening, seeing just how naked you are when you've got no God to protect you. The Saints' War was a hard time to be a Deerwooden. People thought it was the end times. They talked big about how we were going to defeat a god, but I don't think there was a man from here to the White March didn't think he was going to die. It does something to you, thinking you're going to die at someone else's hands. There's a rage that comes. Indignation. Imagine a whole country full of that. Might have been Cold Morn that started it. Town near the border. They let Widewind march right on through. Rest of Deerwood cursed their names till the end of the war. Some say it was the Eothasians there that persuaded the town not to oppose the army. Others said it was just cowardice. It was like the legacy that way. No one knew the real reason, so they just picked whichever one suited what they wanted to believe. Either way, that town was burning before the first ashes of Eothas hit the ground. And it felt good to the people here to be in control after being so helpless. So the fires spread. A lot of us Eothasians went the way of our god. That means they died. There were claims from the Church of Magrin, he's saying this right in front of that she'd actually commanded the purges. I found that hard to believe. Sounded to me like people doing what they wanted, wrapping their god around it like she was a cloak. Then again, that's what I thought about Widewind. I like this guy's dialogue. I liked Aloth's a lot too. I want to ask you about something else.
What's on your mind?
I want to ask something about you. Wow, this guy's got considerably more dialogue options than Aloth did. What did you...
Other than the war, I never strayed too far from where you found me. Farming, mostly. I was never much for cities. Never learned a trade.
Your trade is ass-kicking, sir. Spartans! What is your profession? Oh! Oh! That's you, buddy. You're gonna be such a badass by the end of the game.
In my younger days, I thought I was gonna go preach the word of Eothas. Just in our temple there. My parents encouraged it. Made so much trouble for them growing up. They used to say it'd be best if I got in good with the god of redemption.
Thought he was gonna be a preacher, that's cool. So he was a farmer, thought he was gonna be a priest, ended up getting pulled into this war and turned into a fighter and a soldier, which was never his intention. This guy's background is sounding so much like a background of one of my old characters that I used to roleplay. My parents encouraged it. Made so much trouble. Right, got in good with the god of redemption. Because he made so much... Right, got it. Alright, it took me a second there.
Of course, us blowing him up probably didn't help my chances there. But if anybody'd forgive you for blowing him up, it'd be Eothas.
Oh, Eothas. So Eothas, I'm getting, is kind of like the Jesus of this world. And look, the god is dead, right? And now people are all against the religion, but there's still people that follow it, even though, I don't know. There's some parallels, is all I'm saying. It's not a direct equivalency. I don't think it's meant to be like a direct, like, allegory of Christianity, but there are some parallels in terms of theme within the world. Did the people of Gilded Vale really try to kill you?
They did.
He laughs about it.
It was strange timing, because we just won the war. They celebrated when I came home. There was music and dancing. Trumbull used half his grain making this big honey cake. I still dream about that cake. Like having the best lover of your life, but only for one night. And they were all sorry to hear about my brother.
That must have been a good fucking cake, sir. Like, that's an amazing cake you're talking about. I still dream of that cake. Apparently it was not a lie. Yeah.
Took a while for word of the purges to reach us. Aethasians being murdered in the streets. Cold morn and the like. No way would they let something like that happen in Gilded Vale. That's what they all said. But the weeks went by and the purges spread. Pretty soon they weren't so sure my brother fought for Deerwood. And they weren't so sure I did.
These assholes.
Caught me by surprise after all the celebrating. Should have seen it coming after the tailor said he was going to fit me for some new clothes, but then all he wanted was my neck measurement.
Yeah, that's pretty suspicious. It's not all just happiness and cake in Gilded Vale. Really?
Nah, not that last part. But you had to think about it. Says a lot about the place I've been calling home all these years.
Wow. Yeah, this place sucks. Why did you stay for so long in a town that hated you?
Well, I'm sure my parents are still wondering the same thing. The Aethasian purges were like this madness had come over the town, like a disease. Seems like when you see something like that, your instinct is to wait for it to pass, even when you know it probably won't.
Yeah, makes sense.
The family whose farm I worked on, they had a little Hollowborn girl. And they heard the Animancers had this cure, salvation it was called. They went running.
Adair pauses a moment, lost in thought.
This salvation, they were putting animal souls in children.
What?
You might have heard about it. Giving them enough personality to care for themselves. You can guess how that turned out. Matter of time, the children broke down. Became wild things. Monsters.
What a horrible fucking idea.
Anyway, these farmers put the family dog's soul in their little girl. For a while, the girl, she's making eye contact, she's feeding herself, albeit in a kind of messy way. And one day she snaps. They found her gnawing on her brother's bones. Had to chain her up, put her in a cow pen.
Jesus. This is getting dark.
Well, the mother, she wouldn't have anything to do with the girl after that. But the father, he'd visit every day. Feed her chickens, toss water on her once in a while to get the dirt off. Most of the village, they'd whisper about him. Poor man, they'd say. Sick with grief.
Yeah, that's pretty intense. It is depressing.
He was just waiting for his daughter to look up one day and recognize her papa. He was waiting for her to get better. Didn't understand that at the time, of course, but these days I think about him a lot.
Adair has some serious stuff weighing on his conscience. He shakes his head and his eyes narrow, contemplative. It's a good word. Do you have any family? Just my parents now. They took a ship back to Adair when the purges started. Wanted me to go with them, but I didn't see things like they did. Been a long time since I've seen them. I really should visit, but for some reason I haven't much felt like leaving home. Good thing they chased me out, or I might have never left. I guess I want to ask you about something else.
What's on your mind?
I want to ask you about whether or not we should keep moving. Wait, no, I don't want to ask. Let's just do it. Okay, so that was interesting. And that also brought up a couple of things that I've seen in the encyclopedia here. Other lore things I haven't read. So we've read about Aethys and Magrin and Rimmergrand and Galawain already. But none of these have had stuff added to them now. Okay. But he mentioned a couple things that I haven't read about in here. One was the purges. In the wake of the Saints' War, their wooden mobs, particularly in rural areas, sought to kill all followers of Aethys. beginning in the town of Cold Morn, which was said to have permitted Widewind's forces to pass through without resistance. Aethasians were hunted down, tortured, and murdered in the streets. That's pretty intense. Like, that's some serious religious persecution right there. So now all the Aethasians must be like in hiding, the ones that are left, right? Which I guess was part of the conversation we just had. The other thing that was mentioned, we've already read about Widewind's legacy, but we have not read about the Salvation. An attempt by Animancers to curtail the number of Hollowborn deaths during Widewind's legacy by transfusing the souls of animals into Hollowborn children in hopes they could care for themselves. The practice was a catastrophic failure, resulting without exception in the creation of, I'm going to pronounce this, wights. Don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced. And is often called the Cruel Salvation. So yeah, that sounds like it was a horrendous idea. So Hollowborn kids, right, they're born without a soul. So they basically have no personality or mind, essentially. And now these Animancers are like, hey, lol, let's put some animal souls in these kids. And it turned out to be a horrible idea. And then you have little girls gnawing on their brother's bones and having to be locked in the barn. And it reminds me of The Walking Dead, you know, where they had their daughter or whatever. She'd turned into a zombie and they had to lock her in the barn and they wouldn't kill her because... Anyway, it's sort of reminiscent of that. And it was pretty horrible. I've read about just about everything here. I have not read about wights, though. It's a Hollowborn child that has, through the science of animancy, been made the vessel of the soul of an animal. In time, all such children become feral and violent. And I have a feeling I'm going to have to kill some of those, which is going to be sad. BRB. Okay, Jen. Cool. See you when you are B, then. I guess. I don't know. Cool. Now, the next thing I'm going to do right now, before I move on, is I'm going to have a conversation with Durrance. Actually, let's make sure there's nothing...
What's on your mind?
All right, nothing new from him. I'm going to talk to Durrance, but that is going to be in a few minutes, because I'm going to end this episode right now. I'm going to cut the stream for a second, and I'm going to be gone for about 5 minutes or so. And then I will be right back. This has been Josiah Plays Pillars of Eternity.